If you really want to be heard, you need to choose a market where you can be heard above all the rest. And I'm going to show you how to do that in this video. Now, these days, online and even offline, it's a pretty crowded old world. And it can sometimes be very difficult for you to make your voice heard above all the rest. So you need to do several things to make yourself really stand out and to make people really be able to listen to what you have to say. And the first thing is that you really need to be able to speak with confidence. And I mean that in both a literal and a metaphorical sense. You want to be able to speak confidently, and you also want to be able to be confident in what you're talking about. So you want to look at your personal strengths. And by that I mean things that you're good at and things that you've done in the past. And this can be in your work, or it can also be in your personal life. Now, let me give you some examples. For instance, in your work life, did you run a business, or do you still run a business, or a department within a business? Did you sell a product? Have you made money from investments? Have you made money online? Have you designed websites or apps? Well, of course, lots of people haven't done any of those things. So if you've done it and you've done it successfully, then that's something that you can talk about with confidence and with authority. What about in your personal life? Have you been involved in a happy, loving relationship? Do you play sports? Did you lose weight? Can you play a musical instrument? Again, these are all things that other people would be interested in knowing about and interested in knowing how to do successfully. Then, of course, there are your interests, things that you are interested in. And this can be a hobby, or it can be a pastime, or it can just be something that satisfies your curiosity. Because if you're curious about something, then chances are other people are going to be curious about it as well. So, do you like playing video games or sports? Are you interested in something like politics or solar energy, that sort of thing? Do you like making things? Because, as I said, chances are other people will be interested in that sort of thing too. So what you should do is to make a list of all your achievements in life, in your work life, in your personal life, everything like that. And then you want to make a list of all the things that you're interested in or enjoy doing. Now, bear in mind, these lists are going to be longer than you think. You might think when you're starting out, oh, I've never done anything, I don't know anything about anything. Well, when you write it all down, you'll find that you actually know more than you think you do. What you have to do then is to whittle these lists down to about half a dozen topics that you're sure you can speak on with authority and confidence. Then it's time to start doing your research and to start seeing how many other people are also interested in listening to what you have to say. But do bear in mind, you can't be heard if you don't know what you're talking about. So don't try and talk about a subject that you really don't know anything about, because people who do know a little bit about it won't be taken in and you'll be seen through as a fraud. So you don't want to do that. So you want to make sure that when you want to be heard, you know what you're talking about. In this video, I'm going to talk you through some market research tools. Because you see, in order to be heard, you need to make sure there aren't too many competing voices. And one way to find out is by doing a keyword search. You'll want to find keywords that have lots of people searching for them, but not that many sites indexed. And this makes it more likely that someone will find your site instead of a competitor's. A really good tool to use for keyword research, and by extension market research, is the Google AdWords Keyword Planner. And this is a free tool that's available to everyone online. It's quite a long URL, so if you just type in Google AdWords Keyword Planner into Google, you'll be redirected to the sign-in page. Then you can sign in, and if you have a Google ID, if you've got a Gmail account or something like that, you'll automatically be able to sign in. Now, it's set up really for knowing how much you're going to pay if you want to buy a Google AdWords ad, but you can use it for other purposes as well, and it is actually a very good market research tool. There are two ways that you can really use it for market research. The first is to search for new keywords using a phrase, website, or category, and the other one, if I scroll down a bit here, is to get search volume data and trends. Now, let me just show you the first one here. This is how you search for new keywords. You enter your product or service in here, or your landing page, or a product category. Then you can decide how you're going to target it by all locations, all languages, Google, negative keywords, etc. You can have keyword filters. Generally, these are just for if you're going to be buying a Google AdWords ad. Okay, then you click on the button here that says Get Ideas. It takes you through to this page, which by default comes up here to Ad Group Ideas, which is obviously for buying an AdWords ad. But if you click on this tab here that says Keyword Ideas, then it gives you some more data that's probably going to be more of interest for market research purposes. It's got the keywords listed by relevance. It tells you the average monthly searches. And it also tells you the competition. Now, the competition is going to be the competition for an AdWords ad, but it does give you an idea as to how many sites are out there with this particular keyword. So it gives you an idea about how many other sites could be out there in Google. The suggested bid and all this other stuff, this is really just for if you're going to buy an AdWords ad. And so you can come up with some good ideas for keywords which you can then use to delve deeper. Now, the other way that you can use the AdWords Keyword Planner for market research is to get search volume data and trends. And what you do is you enter your keywords or key phrases in here, separated by commas. I'm going to have internet marketing and search engine marketing for this demonstration. Or you can upload a file from your computer. You can target either locally or all locations. You can target Google or Google and its search partners. Negative keywords can be included, so you can take out things like free and that sort of thing. You can select a date range, or you can show the average monthly searches for the last 12 months. I'm going to keep everything at the default settings for this demonstration, and then click on here that says Get Search Volume. And it takes you through to this page, and you can see that it shows you a lot of information here. Let me just scroll down a bit. You can get the average number of monthly searches in Google. Tells you the competition, the suggested bid, and all this other stuff. This is if you're going to buy an AdWords ad, just like on the last section there. And it also gives you the competition, and also gives you this graph that shows the number of searches per month. Now, I'm making this video in March 2016, so you see it showing me everything over the previous 12 months. You can see if there's a trend going, or if there are times of the year when these particular search phrases get searched for more than other times. So for example, here, let's look at the one for search engine marketing. You also have this rather annoying version of it that pops up when you put the mouse over this little icon. And you can see that as far as search engine marketing is concerned, it's pretty much the same throughout the year, except you do get this spike here in April when it does tend to go up a little bit. You've got 14,800 searches in April as opposed to 12,100, which is pretty much static throughout the year. And you can do this if you have a lot of different keywords that you're planning on using, or you can combine this with the keyword finder. It's up to you, really. Now, another tool that I want to tell you about is Market Samurai. I'll be honest with you, when I first started using Market Samurai, I had a hard time getting my head around it because it can be very complicated, and some of the ways that you look for things on Market Samurai are different than you would do in the Google Keywords tool. Nevertheless, it is a very good piece of kit once you get used to using it, because it'll tell you a lot more things than the Google AdWords keyword finder will. In particular, Google doesn't tell you how many backlinks there are for a particular website. And what you can do with Market Samurai, in addition to using it to find keywords, you can also use it to see which sites get to the top of the search engine rankings in Google and other search engines, and also what their keywords are and how many backlinks there are going to that particular page. So you can find out that there might be a top-rated site for one particular keyword that only has 2 or 3 backlinks going to it. And you could then optimize your website for that particular keyword, get a few more backlinks, and beat it to the top of the rankings. So it does tell you a lot of information. Let me just scroll down a bit here. There is a video on the website that explains exactly how it all works, so I'm not going to go into a lot of detail in this video. And despite what it says here, a free copy of Market Samurai, it is only a free trial version. The actual software, the full version, let's click here, is a paid-for piece of software. Here you can see at the time that I'm making this video, it's $149, but it does unlock everything permanently. The free trial version lets you do all this, but once the trial's over, then obviously the number of functions that it has becomes quite severely limited. And you can see it's got a whole lot of information about it there. And you can read more about it at marketsamurai.com. Now, using these tools will make it easier for people to find your website or blog and hear what you have to say. In this video, I want to talk about blogging to be heard. Now, what is a blog? Well, Wikipedia defines it like this. A blog, a truncation of the expression weblog, is a discussion or informational site published on the World Wide Web consisting of discrete entries, posts, typically displayed in reverse chronological order. The most recent post appears first. Many blogs provide commentary on a particular subject. Others function as more personal online diaries. Others function more as an online brand advertising of a particular individual or company. A typical blog combines text, images, and links to other blogs, web pages, and other media related to its topic. So, why do you need a blog to be heard? Well, quite frankly, it's the easiest way of getting your message out there. And when indexed in the search engines, anyone can find it. Your blog needs to be structured properly, though, and it needs to be keyword optimized. Now, when it comes to blogging, you've got 2 options. You can have your blog self-hosted, and that means that you have your own domain and your own hosting, and you install the software on it, and then you drive traffic to it just as if it was a sales type website. Or you can host it on third-party sites like WordPress.com, and WordPress.com is probably the most popular one. Now, there are pros and cons to each approach. Let's talk about self-hosted. Well, the pros, well, first of all, it's yours. It's your blog and it's on your domain, and you can do whatever your hosting company would allow you to do with it. You can have your own domain, which means that it's much easier for people to remember it. And you can personalize it with plugins. So you can have things like your latest tweets showing in a sidebar and that sort of thing. Now, the cons are, well, first of all, you have to pay for domain and hosting, and depending on your hosting company, that can be quite expensive. And also, blogs, and particularly WordPress blogs, can be vulnerable to hackers, particularly if you're using shared hosting. You might find that a hacker gets into another blog that's hosted on the same server and then is able to attack yours, almost via a back door. So that is a problem that a lot of people who have self-hosted blogs have to face. Now, what if you're going to host it on sites like WordPress.com? Well, the pros, first of all, it's free. You might have to pay extra for a domain name if you want a domain name, just like you would if it was your own self-hosted blog. You can actually have your own domain name, but they do charge extra for that, and quite substantially more than you would pay to have your own domain name if it was on your own hosting. But they do have bulletproof security. I mean, the good people at WordPress are very good at making sure that the bad guys don't get in. So your chances of being hacked on WordPress.com are much lower than they would be if you have it on your own hosting. And blogs on WordPress.com get indexed very quickly. The spiders from Google and other search engines visit the site several times a day, and you can find that your blog itself and the posts that you put on your blog do get indexed very quickly indeed. And the cons, well, first of all, it's not yours, so it can be pulled without notice. So if it's on a subject that WordPress don't like, or if you do something that they don't like that maybe violates one of their terms and conditions, and some of the terms and conditions and terms of service can be quite onerous, they can pull it without notice and without recourse, and that's it, your blog is gone. So that's a big downside to doing it this way. And there are some restrictions on the sort of subject matter that you can have. There are some restrictions on the type of uses that you can put it to. Some blog hosts don't allow you to do any sales from it, that sort of thing. And some blog hosts, not necessarily WordPress.com, but some blog hosts will also put AdSense advertising on your blog that they get all the proceeds from. So there are pros and cons to having it hosted on a third-party site. Now, how do you set up a blog? Well, let me show you. It is actually very simple. I'm going to use WordPress.com for this demonstration. Be sure to come to WordPress.com, not WordPress.org. WordPress.org is where you can download the software and install it on your own website. So you come to WordPress.com and you click here where it says Create Website. And it takes you through to this page. And as you can see, there are 4 steps to getting your WordPress blog set up. The first one is to choose a theme. This is a pre-made design for your WordPress blog, and you can change it later if you wish. And there's a whole lot of different ones available, and not just the ones that are on WordPress.com. You can get some ready-made. You can get people to custom design you a WordPress theme. There are websites online where you can develop your own WordPress theme. So it is very, very flexible in that respect. So let's see. Let's have this one here, Coles. So I'll click on that. It says pick. And then you want to find a domain. Now, when you have WordPress.com, you can have your own domain redirect to it. It costs extra to map it to this particular site. Or you can buy a domain from them, although quite frankly, you can probably get it cheaper somewhere else. Otherwise, your domain is going to be your keywords followed by a dot and WordPress.com. So let's enter a domain. Let's call this new video to go. And I can have it new video to go.wordpress.com for free, or I can have all these other versions for an extra cost. Now, I'm in the UK, so it's giving the prices in pounds sterling. If you're in another country, it will show it in your local currency. I'm just going to stick with the free version for this demonstration, so we'll click on Select. And then you pick the hosting plan. The free one is, as you can see, just the very basic one. It's a WordPress site loaded with powerful features, 3 gigabytes of storage space, and support from the WordPress community. For £85 a year, you've got all these extra ones, and for $250, you've got all these extra add-ons as well. I'm just going to stick with the free version for this demonstration, so select free plan. Then you need to add your email address, username, and password. So let me just pause the video while I do that. Okay, I've done that. And now what I have to do is agree to the terms of service and click here to create my account. And it says it's creating the account, adding the theme, free plan selected. And there we go. And I don't want Chrome to save this password. So now this takes you into the WordPress dashboard. You've got the stats, the plan. You can add your blog posts or pages. You can change the themes. You can change the menu. You can configure it all sorts of different ways. What I'll just show you here is how you can add a new blog post, which is to click here on Add. Now it's also asking me to verify my email address. What you'll have to do when you sign up is they will send you an activation email, and then you click on the link in it to validate your email address. Your blog site won't actually show until you do that, but you can still get everything set up ahead of time. Okay, let's type in a title for our first post. Let's call it My First Post. And then you can just simply type away. And you can preview it by clicking on this button here. And you can see this is what it will look like. And then you can publish it and have it up online right away. And you can see what it's going to look like on a PC. You can see what it's going to look like on a tablet. You can see what it's going to look like on a smartphone. And of course, one thing about having your blog hosted on WordPress.com is it does get indexed very quickly. So you can get your site out there and get heard much more quickly than by other means. So there's pros and cons to both, like I was saying earlier on. So there you go. That's why you need a blog in order to be heard and how you can set one up.
Are you interested in personal development? Subscribe now to this channel. The team here brings you new videos on issues such as online marketing, Microsoft Office, Adobe, internet security, design, photography, and web development. All videos are made by Internet Marketing Europe. Subscribing is free. You can subscribe by pressing the button below.